Hi, I'm Gail Wetzler, and I'm the director of the curriculum in the Baral Institute for Visceral Manipulation. I am a physical therapist. I have been working in women's health for a number of years. I'm an athletic trainer, and I have been working with athletes who perhaps have dysfunction into the pelvic girdle, the low back pain, sacral, SI joint problems, and perhaps even those that travel into the lower extremities. So welcome to VM6, and just the understanding that this is actually the last section of the visceral curriculum. It's also a very exciting section because it helps us understand the brain. And the brain has, as much as in the literature today, and understanding the gut-brain connection. You know, we're hearing more and more about it. You have functional medicine, you have naturopaths talking about it, you're seeing it, written up, and the connection between that brain and the organs in the body. And I just want to express to you, John Pierre's been working with this so much longer than the discoveries of what we're hearing lately. So the polyvagal syndrome and the theory that might be behind that, how the vagal nerve and its interception of what's happening in our gut, and the gut brings that information up into the brain. Where does it store that? How do we as manual therapists feel that into the emotional zones that are in the cranium and the emotional zones of a little bit more depth and longevity in the system, the unconscious mind field, if you would, that helps us get into the limbic system. And so the entire curriculum comes together in VM6. So we integrate what you have learned in the previous classes, and then we bring it into the visceral emotional relationships. As John Pierre was studying how do organs affect the musculoskeletal system, so the body started talking back to him. The person started having mood changes, behavior changes, functional changes. And so he thought there was a connection perhaps with the receptacles of our organs, the individual emotions that might be found in the organs, and what is their pathway of communication to the brain and the brain's information to come back. So you all will learn in regards to the anatomy of different lobes of the brain, what might be functioning in those potential lobes. How do we as manual therapists, when we get onto that brain, how do we identify I'm on a bone, I'm on the dura, I'm in the arachnoid space, so I'm feeling cerebral spinal fluid, I'm into the pia mater, and as I'm into the pia, it brings us into the potential of glial cells. It brings us into the potential of what the brain tissue and the nerve cells are suggesting to our hands as a potential attraction. Where's the restriction as we put our hands on? So you learn about the different levels. Perhaps it's in a temporal lobe. You understand what the temporal lobe function is. How does that relate manually to what I'm feeling? How does that relate perhaps subjectively to what they may be sensing? So the temporal lobe, for instance, houses a little bit more of our memory. Were they saying something to you in regards to early stages of memory loss? I wonder what we can feel then with our hands that bring us into what section specifically of that temporal lobe. So as we kind of conclude the classes in the VM curriculum, we've had a lot of patients and clients come in to tell us their story. And the emotions that might be a part of that story is potentially part of their healing process. And that healing doesn't mean that the damage or dysfunction never existed. But how we help them through this is that it doesn't have to control their lives anymore. If we wake up a little something, if we help it express itself in a little way, where that barrier was there in the first place, and now we opened up the possibility for a space for healing. That is what we invite you to come learn and listen and feel in the last class of the curriculum, VM6.